Again to lyra.com, your leading resource for holistic health in North America and the world. And today we're going to talk about the Geno62, a portable and extremely affordable sound and ultrasound therapy device that triggers your body's self-healing powers. It is based on a totally new concept for healthcare that we're going to discuss here, and it's backed up by scientific research and clinical trials, as well as experiences from thousands of practitioners around the world. And we're going to have an in-depth look at some clinical trials and discuss 3 real patient cases from those trials, and you're going to learn all the options that the device comes with, how it works exactly, and everything else you need to know. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Let's start by talking about the therapy concept of the Geno62. So as we've mentioned already, it is a sound and ultrasound therapy device that triggers the self-healing abilities of our bodies. And this revolutionary vibrational technology is based on a totally new concept for healthcare. That is that at any time the human body has over 95% healthy cells, and a maximum of 5% can only be sick before your health condition deteriorates and you die eventually. So healthy cells must be therefore supported to enter a resonance with the sick cells, and the healthy cells need to recognize and communicate with the sick cells. This means that the sick cells must regain their bipolar structure. And during the therapy with the Geno62, the cellular membrane potential is improving, the sick cells regain their dipole or dipole structure again, and bipolar cells were like a battery, and the energy starts to flow again through those cells, and energy blockages are removed. So to achieve this, you must deliver the right information, in this case those healing sounds that device produces in digitalized form to the body, and the body intelligence then takes it from there and brings the process to a happy end, meaning it makes you healthy again. And we know that sinus or sawtooth-shaped vibrations are not recognized by human cells except for neuronal cells, and thus the Geno62 therapy software is using digital frequencies compatible with our biological cells. That's why it works so great. The Geno62 comes with 3 SD cards that have those healing frequencies imprinted on them, a yellow, a green and a red card, and they deliver those digitalized sound frequencies to your body. And you will always start with a yellow card, which sends out frequencies for a general therapy, bringing the body to a more balanced state and preparing the patient for a more specific health treatment afterwards. And the yellow card, that we also call a harmonizer card, can be used by everyone and is ideal for prevention as well as maintenance. All cards also have 2 options, a Buddha and a volcano option. And these options are related to the ultrasound frequencies that the device also embeds into the therapy. The Buddha card has 44 kilohertz frequencies on it, and the volcano option has 88 kilohertz. So the Buddha is calming, relaxing to the mind and your body, and the volcano is energizing, it's powering up your body, and it acts stimulatively. And some of the major frequency bundles which are pre-recorded on those cards are the 62 chemical elements, hence the name Geno62, and those are the constituents of living being cells. And the vibrations necessary to balance the autonomic nervous system and central nervous system are also on those cards. And many more specific frequencies for different organs, specific health conditions and psychosomatic disorders are as well on those cards. Let's discuss the 3 SD cards more in depth, starting with the yellow therapy card. And the yellow therapy card has as a general focus your well-being, a reactivation of mitochondrial energy production, cellular detoxification, metabolism balance and activation, and it supports also your cellular communications. And here you can see the 3 acoustic programs, and then the Buddha and the volcano, of course, and they expect a therapy effect. So The 30V2 Phi-Gen, which is a favorite of ours, it cancels water retention and regresses edemas. Then the 20V1 Phi-Gen supports wounds and skin lesion healing, and the Geno62 Geno Light has as an effect pain relief, it balances blood sugar, it helps with allergies, constipations, vision disorders, metabolism disorders, stomach, intestine disorders, liver and large intestine disorders, and balances also your urinary bladder contractions. And here you can see that the therapy doesn't take too long. You do it 7 times every 48 hours, and then afterwards 4 times twice a week, and then 4 times only once a week, and then only once a month to maintain. It's for prevention and maintenance then. And the duration is 1 to 3 minutes for the first 15 sessions for sensitive patients, unstable patients, and seriously ill patients. For less diseased patients, you only need 5 to 10 minutes for the first 15 sessions, and then 10 to 60 minutes after the first 15 sessions. So it doesn't take long, and once you are balanced, you only need to do it once a month to maintain your healthy state. Next up is the green therapy card, and here the general focus is to balance emotionally and psychologically. So your mental state is also for well-being and stress relief in general. And here we have one main program, and again the Buddha and volcano frequencies. One, as we said, the Buddha is the calming and relaxing one, and the volcano is the energizing, stimulative one. So here this program that we have acoustically on it, the 5-bio, PEB, is for calm, serenity, a good mood, for relaxation and stress relief, for your inner harmony and clarity, for your cardiovascular region and heart rate balance, regulation of the breathing. It supports also your immune system. You will experience better speech and sleep. It stabilizes also your limbic system. It helps you resolve inside conflicts, reduces anxiety and panic attacks. It removes tightness in the chest and the throat, and it helps also with exhaustion, burnout syndrome, etc. So here again, the therapy doesn't take too long. You start with 10-minute therapy sessions, and you can increase it up to 25 minutes based on how you feel. And in the evening, of course, because it's a calming frequency, you do the Buddha, and then in the morning you can do the volcano. So that's the green card for you. The third card is the red therapy card, and here the general focus is the autonomic nervous system balance, your general well-being again, also resolution of key energy blockades. It activates the inter and intracellular communication, it triggers body autoregulation and self-healing, and it helps also with body detoxification. And here we have 4 basic programs and then 6 secondary programs, and again enhanced by the Buddha and volcano ultrasound frequencies that are also imprinted on the card. And here we can see for the basic programs, 08 for example, 5-bio, helps with relief of epigenetic blockages. The 09 program, it's for autonomic nervous system balance, stabilization, and it also triggers autoregulation. The 10 is for prostate therapy and removes imbalances in the lower belly, as well as stem cell programs for cell communication. 01 program is for inflammation regression and cancer therapy, and then we have the secondary programs. The 02 here is, for example, relief of energy blockages and inflammation, as well as cancer therapy. 03 for autonomic nervous system balance and parasympathetic barrier removal. 04 for energy balance blockages removal and inflammation regression, as well as cancer therapy. Next one is for energy blockages again and inflammation regression as well as prostate therapy and general urogenital therapy, as well as stem cell therapy. 06 is for prostate and urogenital cancer therapy. 07 for energy blockages, removal, prostate, and urogenital disorders therapy. And general therapy effects are of those cards that they synchronize both brain hemispheres. They established the best alpha, beta, delta brainwave states. They balance the autonomic nervous system with the central nervous system. They balance your hormones. Cardiovascular regulation is one of the effects, and better breathing, an immune system boost, a therapy of vasomotor disorders such as HBP and ADH imbalances, but also pain therapy. It's good for thyroid disorders, organ disorders, joints and bone problems, detoxification, immune system boost, stress relief, anxiety and panic attack relief, as well as the resolution of inside conflicts. And again, the therapy doesn't take too long. Each program duration is a maximum of 20 minutes, and the recommended therapy duration is only 7 minutes. And stepwise, you can increase the duration up to 20 minutes. Next, we're going to look at the scientific research that has been performed on the Geno62 and its effects. And first up, we have dark field microscopy that has been performed on your white blood cells. And here you see the picture before and after only 2 minutes of therapy with the Geno62. First, what is dark field microscopy? Well, it shows the difference in blood rheology and increased blood cell activity after the use and before the use of the Geno62. And this research found that the blood viscosity was significantly decreasing. Your red blood cells significantly gained mobility and were activated, and the immune cells were activated and can therefore perform their job in the immune system much better. Here we have the results from a clinical trial in a Swiss hospital, and the results in general has been that approximately 80% of all applications with the Geno62 have had effects. These range from discrete metabolic improvements to rapid cures of life-threatening situations such as cancer. An effect has usually occurred within only a few hours in this clinical trial. Systematic effects like the reduction of blood glucose in diabetes, as well as local effects for like the increase in wound healing has been observed. The worse the condition, the better the effect that was achieved with the Geno62 was. And overall, the doctor said that it can be said that more positive results have been achieved with the Geno62 within 2 months than with all our other apparatuses. So devices such as, for example, ultrasound, electrotherapy, laser, etc. In part, the positive effects were tremendous, they said, and almost unbelievable. And they cautioned here you have to be careful not to use the word that it were almost miracles. So extremely impressive results that here were the result of a true clinical trial in a very renowned Swiss cantonal hospital. So let's have a look at one of the patients that was part of this clinical trial in the Swiss hospital. The diagnosis was an easy diabetes type 2 and PHS right after shoulder accident. So the objective of the doctors here was the reduction of glucose levels and of the shoulder pain, of course. The results after the Geno62 therapy with the yellow card was first 10 minutes. The headphones were used on the head, and 35 minutes a loudspeaker on the belly, and the other one on the vertebral column on TH12. Then 5 minutes the headphones were placed on the kidney at kidney height sideways. So the total treatment duration was only 50 minutes. Measurements with the blood drop analyzer gave the following results. Before the treatment, the patient had 10.6 micromoles, and after the treatment, only 6.4 micromoles of glucose, and the patient was released with significantly less pain and feeling at ease. Next up, we have another patient case from this clinical study, and here the diagnosis was chronic lumboischialgia and obesity. So problem was that this patient had discus hernias and obesity resulted in a chronic pain situation in the lumbar region, and new to them and to the patient was also that the patient had an acute intensifying pain situation from the lumbar to the left buttocks, and the general aim of the therapy here was pain reduction. The result was that with a yellow card with headsets placed paravertebral on the left on lumbar L4 and gluteus on the right, 10 centimeter lateral of the sacrum margins for 20 minutes only. And after 2 treatments, the acute pain had practically disappeared so that the patient could actively practice again. And patient also had all other medications discontinued because he was not suffering from pain anymore. Another case from this clinical trial in a Swiss hospital, the diagnosis was a rupture of the internal and external ligaments. The problem was that persistent swellings, medial and lateral OSG, active instability and pain, especially in the area of the medial malleolus above the ligament, fibula talare anterior and the Achilles tendon. The objectives of the therapy were stimulating the healing process and relieving the pain. And here are the results. 30 minutes, they applied the Geno62 with the headphones, placing on the left and right of the malleolus fork. The program used was the yellow card, and the volume was 60%. And the result after 1 hour was that the strong piercing intermittent pain and a strong heating of the tissue around the OSG occurred, and the next morning there was hardly any visible swelling and no more pain. And during the day, a slight increase in the swelling and slight pain again, but only after 5 treatments within 40 days, the patient was completely free of all of those symptoms. Another patient from this clinical trial, this patient suffered from COPD, lymphedema, legs and abdomen, and light diabetes, and underfunction of the adrenal cortex. The patient was in very poor condition, very critical when he was brought in, strong, rapidly increasing lymphedema on both legs, saturation between 78 and 86%. So the emergency station would have been strongly recommended, but the patient refused. And after using the Geno62 yellow card for 30 minutes, applied with headphones on the ventral left and right, about 5 centimeters below the bottom ribs, the results were the Friday morning, started with a marked improvement of and an edema regression. On Saturday, the edema on both legs was fully restored and the saturation was between 88 and 92%. Normally, the doctor said that this wouldn't be achieved after about 2 weeks of stationary stay. So, and on Monday already, the patient had a normal general condition and a saturation level of 94 to 96%. So again, great results. Another patient from this study, this patient was suffering from prostate carcinoma and dubiotrans contracture, chronic Achilles tendinitis, spinal canal stenosis, and a general weakness after colonoscopy, severe pain flexor on the tendon of the third finger, and slight pain in the Achilles tendon. Objectives were an increase of body energy, a pain reduction, of course, and a regression of the carcinoma. The result was that 40 minutes of Geno62 therapy with a yellow card with 1 loudspeaker, and then 35 minutes with the headphones, followed by 20 minutes at the finger flexor tendon and at the Achilles tendon. The patient felt very energetically charged. After the treatment, the lens of the eyes were very alert, and previously they were somewhat tired. The pain was significantly weaker. He could bend the third finger much better. Achilles tendon marked a reduction of the pain state as well. 1 day after the treatment, there was a marked deterioration of walking ability and impaired drive, balance disorders, and massive muscular tone loss all over the body, as well as memory and difficulty, memory loss and difficulty in concentrating. Still, in the healing of the chaos state, so that was an indication that the patient was not healed yet, needed further attention. And after 4 weeks, they could observe sudden improvements by 80% in body activity and 50% in his mental situation. So again, sometimes it takes some time, but the results in the end were again fantastic. Next, we're going to look at some scientific studies of the effects of the Geno62 that were performed with another device and technology that is called a Prognos device. And here are some remarks on how to interpret the curves that we're going to look at in the next slides. It's the balance of the meridians. The curve of the balance of the meridians ideally should be between the two straight red lines. On each meridian lie 2 points, the left and the right meridians. Ideal is a very small difference between the left and the right meridians. Meridian asymmetry represents 70% of the overall assessment here, and it's also indicated in colors: green meaning all right, yellow meaning a warning, red it's outside of the norm, and gray is unimportant. The energy consumption represents 30% of the overall assessment, and the blue boundaries show the ideal space for energy distribution in the system. Many green, yellow, and red bars indicate stress in the system, and ideally all the bars are zero, meaning zero energy deviation. The evaluation of the basic measurement is as follows. Harmony precedes energy. Regarding energy tolerance, tolerance values of plus minus 10% lie within a normal range in this measurement of tolerance, since we are dealing with a living system, and the therapy control is a general development of the energy level. So let's have a look at the results. But first, 2 further remarks regarding the Prognos measurement. So the basic measurements serve as a guide, and in addition to the actual energy state include the psychic component, and the provocation measurement is a stimulation frequencies and biochem. So through this provocation, the psychic component is blacked out and the actual state of the body is made visible. And here we have the first real patient case from this trial. It's a female, 39 years old. They were suffering from energy exhaustion and felt unbalanced. Initial scans of the meridians and the energy you can see below. It's a 41% meridian disharmony, especially in the upper meridian branches. It's an energy lack of 38%. And a left-to-right side imbalance of 52%. Burdens were detected such as heavy metals, viruses, bacteria, funguses, field distortions, electrosmog, and teeth problems. And in the next slide, we're going to look at the results after the Geno62 therapy. And here are the results after the therapy was applied to this patient. You can already see that many of those bars are not in the red anymore. So 11 hours after one session with the Geno62 for only 5 minutes with the yellow card, you could see an improved meridian harmony. So energy imbalance was still there due to the electrosmog and the acidosis, but the general energy profile was much improved. Upper meridians were still unbalanced due to the heavy metals and the teeth issues, but significantly better already and all in the green range. And this was measured with the Prognos with a tolerance of 10%. And as a conclusion, the patient had no more energy blockages. And here we have another graph showing the improvement in the patient's general condition. The explanation is again that the more red, yellow, and green lines you have, the less balanced the patient is. And here you can see that the variation in the graphs is reduced towards the end, and showing again significant improvement in the energy balance of the patient. Next up, we have a 40-year-old male who was suffering from multiple sclerosis and as well as a walking impairment. So he needed a walking stick, and he also suffered from speech difficulties. And here we see the initial graphs of his measurement. He has a 71% disharmony in his meridians and a 61% energy exhaustion. Most of the meridian disharmonies are in the lower part of the meridians, which is probably due to parasites as well as a toxicity in his body. And next we're gonna have a look at the results after the Geno62 was applied. So this is the graph of this patient only 45 minutes later after the Geno62 yellow card was applied to the patient for 40 minutes. And already you can see a great improvement. The walking difficulties were no longer perceptible, and also the speech disorder had already disappeared. And here the graph of his energy balance, and it was recommended to him that in order to further stabilize his condition, the patient should further perform a Geno62 session only once a month, so he can improve even further. Here we have the next patient from this trial, and here you see the initial graphs before the Geno62 treatment. The basic measurement showed an average variation of his meridian disharmony of 49% and an energy exhaustion of 49% as well. And next, let's look at the results after the Geno62 therapy. And here they are. After provocation measurement with stimulation frequency and a biochem, the mean variation meridian disharmony was still 49%, and the energy exhaustion was a little lower at 48%, so he needed further treatment. So let's see what happened next. So the next measurement was immediately after twice 15-minute Geno62 session at the neck, left and right. And here we see already again an improvement. The average variation disharmony of the disharmony in the meridians was now 76%, and the energy exhaustion was also less at 46%, but still not ideal results. So the therapy with the Geno62 continued, and we're going to have a look next at what happened. And this is the graph after another 30 minutes of therapy with the Geno62 yellow card. The average variation disharmonies of the disharmonies in the meridians was now only 45%, and the energy was also significantly higher. The exhaustion was now down to 33%. And here we see the therapy control of this patient after 30 minutes of applying the Geno62 yellow card. So twice for 15 minutes, the headphones at the neck on the right and on the left side, and we can see that all energy blockages have been removed, and the energy overall is significantly higher than at the beginning of the measurement. So again, great results within a very, very short amount of time. And here we see the energetic changes of this patient as they switch from being in the red and in the gray to being totally in the green, meaning that the patient is now much more energetically charged and balanced. So again, great results after only, as we said, a very short amount of time. Time for conclusions then. The Geno62 is a unique bioenergetic therapy device that combines digitalized sound therapy with ultrasound, the ultrasound being the frequencies carrier. At this stage, there are many options for a therapy that we've described to you based on the existing 3 SD cards, the yellow, the green, and the red. And there are many other cards in development already for different other health conditions, as well as for water and remedy imprints, as well as broadcasting, homeopathy, etc. So the device is being continuously developed further, and you can check again for updates here at lyra.com. Of course, we're going to bring you the newest developments as they happen. It's very affordable and portable, and it's therefore perfect for private users as well as doctors. As we've seen, there are numerous testimonials as well as clinical studies that have proven the efficiency of this very modern therapy system. And do not forget, at any time in your life, you have over 95% healthy cells that are trustworthy allies in any therapy you give to your patients, and those 95% are made much stronger through the Geno62. So thanks for your attention, and I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. As always, if you have any comments, questions, contact us at www.lyranara.com. We love to hear from you, and until the next time, stay healthy.